I've been a group fitness instructor since 1980. I'm an author, TV host, mom, wife, and dog mom. But I got sick and almost died from toxic mold exposure. I spent years researching alternative remedies instead of prescription drugs to cure myself, my husband, rocker Ted Nugent, and our son Rocco. I'll share what I've learned about healthy living and how to be happy in difficult times, some current events, and always end with something to make you smile. This is Simply Shemane.
Simply Shemane is powered by Patriot Mobile, America's only Christian conservative wireless service provider.
Welcome back. I'm so excited to have my guest, Alex Clark, who hosts POPlitics, a very, very popular show on Instagram. And it's all about pop culture without the leftist propaganda. Alex, thank you so much for joining me.
Hi, Shemane. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you.
Alex, tell me a little bit about why you wanted to do a show called POPlitics without the leftist propaganda.
So I actually do this show through Turning Point USA, if you're familiar with it. It's a conservative, student-focused, nonprofit organization. We have a productions department, and we have a couple shows that come out of our productions department. And I was in pop radio for 7 years. And last year, I had started feeling in my heart like I wanted to get out of mainstream media. It just became increasingly more toxic as a conservative. And I wanted to still do a show covering pop culture, but from a conservative perspective. And I just knew that hadn't really existed. And so, long story short, I got connected with Turning Point USA. I had been a big fan of Charlie Kirk and everything that he was doing with this organization. And I had gone to some of our events and stuff. And they were like very interested in working with me and saying, would you consider leaving radio and doing a show with us? And I said, absolutely. So last summer of July 2019, I quit my job as a morning show co-host in pop radio. I had been co-hosting a morning show in Indianapolis, Indiana. I was syndicated into Houston, Texas as well. We had the #1 morning show. I told my bosses, deuces, I'm out. I'm leaving. I didn't tell them what I was doing. They were very confused. They were like, where are you going to live? They thought I was going to be homeless. And so I ended up quitting. I moved across the country to Phoenix, Arizona, where our Turning Point USA headquarters is. And then I started building and launching POPlitics, which is, it's a word that combines the word pop culture and politics. And so it's like if E! News and Fox News had a baby. That's what POPlitics is. We cover the top 3 to 4 entertainment news stories of the day, and I just give funny takes on them. It's very snappy. It's not like a long show at all. It posts to Instagram weekdays at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, and 5 to 6 minutes. People love it. We've created a whole sisterhood of fans now. We call ourselves the Cute Conservatives because we're cute and we're conservative.
I love that. Well, thank you so much because, yes, I am familiar with Turning Point. I'm an official Turning Point ambassador now. So
yes,
I'm so excited about that. And I'm so old to be, talking to younger people, but I love it. It keeps me young as well. But I also love that, it takes a lot, I think, more for women to be outspoken about politics and culture. And have you had much backlash when you made that switch, when you had that turning point? Did anybody in your life say, "Oh, girlfriend, what you're doing, you're going to regret that"?
100%. I mean, I had a cushy radio career. Like I said, it was the #1 show. There was definitely a trajectory for growth, for me to market jump and move up in radio. That was something that was the plan. And for within the next 5 years, that as I was not going to stay in indie forever, but I was going to go somewhere else. And everything was great. It had a good salary and all this stuff. All my friends and family lived there. I mean, I had a whole life. And when I had said to other friends, actually, I reached out to friends that were in conservative talk radio about the idea first, before Turning Point came to me. I went to them and I just said, what do you think? Do you think a conservative talk radio format would be interested in having a girl host a show that is a pop culture show, but the host is conservative? And all of them were like, you're really ambitious, Alex. We really admire that about you, but there's no way that would ever happen. They said, first of all, you're an anomaly. There's not enough young conservatives, and conservatives don't care about pop culture. And I just knew that that was wrong, because I knew how I felt about it. Like, I love keeping up with the Kardashians and stuff, you know, like that's not foreign to me. I love fashion, and I've always been into that kind of thing. And so I'm still into politics. So I knew that that wasn't true. And I was like, well, you know, I have Turning Point. They're interested. I'm going to try it. And it was definitely a huge career risk. I was really scared moving across the country. I didn't know anyone in Phoenix. I've barely been here. The last time I was in Phoenix, I was like in 5th grade on a family trip to the Grand, we went through Phoenix. We went to the Grand Canyon on a little family road trip. That's all I knew about out here. And so, it was too important to me, just seeing like where our country was going, and just a complete assault on our freedoms. And I wanted to speak to young people in a way that was like a way that it was palatable. There's a lot of young women that I think are conservatives, but they've never been exposed to conservative ideas because they're never exposed to them in a way that they would even consume them. So I say that my show is like cotton candy conservatism, and I make it fun and talk to them in a way that's like they'd actually be willing to listen. It's not me preaching at them and stuff. Like, I'm bringing up, oh, did you see what Cardi B did? Here's a conservative perspective on that. It's a good way to hook them in and get them interested in learning about what being a conservative is all about without overwhelming them and making them feel like this is way over my head. Especially because for young people, most young people they don't even identify as necessarily a leftist or a conservative. They don't even care. They're just completely apathetic about politics because they think it's boring or whatever. And my show makes that fun. So it was a total risk to start this. And yeah, we were nervous that it wasn't going to work because I had nothing to compare to. Like, this is the very first ever conservative pop culture show to exist like this. So when we were building the show and coming up with what it would be and the format and the style and the colors and everything, I kept wanting to be like, oh, let me look up so-and-so and like see how they created their show. And there was nothing. So we just went into it blind, but it's really just grown so much since we launched in late October. And we just keep growing more and more and more.
Well, I love it. I know you have a huge following because my producer, when I said, you know, I'm having a guest, Alex, come on, and she goes, okay, what is she? What is he? She said, what is he talking about? And I said, well, it's a she. She's got a show called POPlitics, and I didn't say it fast, and she goes, oh my gosh, you have Alex Clark coming on. She got all excited. So I love what you're doing, and I'm with you. I would watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians and Entertainment Tonight just for the fashion. Like, I'm with you, but I got so turned off at all the negativity towards our president. And it's so disheartening when I see young people who are just buying into that liberal propaganda, and they don't even know what they're talking about. You know, there's a lot of ignorance that's going on, and unfortunately, mainstream media and our colleges and universities are to blame. How would you convert or start to attempt to convert a young woman who's kind of on the fence and really doesn't know? What would you say to them?
I would say, when you first have a conversation with somebody that isn't necessarily on your side politically, the goal in that one conversation, don't be expecting to convert them in that one conversation. It is a slow, consistent process. And just gently kind of red pilling, I guess I would say, them with conservative ideas. And talk, you know, starting with basic ideas, just that conservatives want more freedom, not less. And, you know, it's been so easy this week with all the things that the left is canceling, live PD, cops, they want to come after Paw Patrol. Several actors have been canceled. The guy that, is the CEO of CrossFit or whatever has been canceled. Everything always ends like that. And their goalposts always move. So they say, like, you know, this is what is acceptable behavior, but then that changes the next day. Now it's not acceptable anymore. So now you're canceled. Now, you know, your whole life and everything that you know is gone. That kind of stuff it's starting to become more obvious to people that are in the middle or just don't really know what they believe. They're starting to see, like, wow, conservatives seem to be more common sense. Like, all the left has to do is not be crazy, and they can't do it. That's all they have to do. And so really, they convert for us. But I think a lot of times we get really wrapped up in a debate or something with our friends about a hot button issue. And at the end of the conversation, if they don't say that they're like, oh yeah, you're right, I think maybe I'm a conservative, we feel discouraged. And we just need to think about planting seeds.
Yes.
And then watering those seeds, and they will grow. They will bloom into something in their heart and in their mind. We need to have patience in that and just constantly checking in. And also starting conversations, asking them what they think about something. So we don't need to go to somebody and be like, I saw that you posted this. This is so wrong. Like, in attacking them that way, they're automatically going to be on their defense. But if you ask them questions to just explain why they feel the way they feel. So they, let's say they post something about, abortion and how they're pro-choice or whatever. If they happen to be and you happen to be pro-life, you can just say, instead of being like, this is wrong, this is why, like immediately, you could ask them like, hey, I saw that you posted this. I'd love to hear more. Like, why do you believe this? Like, tell me more about thinking that, it's her body, her choice. Like, explain that. And then they explain their side, and then you can just be like, that's so interesting. And, you're very respectful. You don't ever raise your voice. You don't ever let your blood pressure get higher than theirs. And you're just like, wow, that's really interesting. I actually feel like, because we know based on science that a baby has its own separate DNA and everything, that it isn't a woman's body. It's a whole separate body. Like, what do you think about that? And it's just, you just constantly put it on them. Like, explain yourself, explain where you're coming from, because that in their mind, then the wheels start turning and they start to realize like, oh, maybe my defense of these issues actually isn't the best. There's a lot of holes in my argument, but you got to let them kind of figure it out on their own. Just like when your friend is dating a guy that you absolutely hate and don't like, you can't just go to her and just be like, dump him. I mean, you could, but how often does that work? We have to just be like, oh, like, well, how did you feel when he told you that you couldn't go out with your friends? Like, well, I don't know. It didn't really make me feel great. Oh, really? Yeah. I haven't heard about that happen to a lot of girls. You try to get them to realize stuff on their own, and then you're there to hold their hand through it when th're ready.
Well, I love that. Thank you so much, Alex, for putting your perspective out there, for being a conservative voice in this young world, this pop culture world. I love your show, POPlitics. I had to say it a couple times. POPlitics.
Yes.
And it's available on Instagram, 4 o'clock Pacific, 4 o'clock Eastern. What time is it?
Yes. So you follow us. Our main home is on Instagram. Just follow us at POPlitics. We're on every weekday, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. And then you can also find the audio version of the show. Now, my show is very graphic heavy. There's a lot going on. It's very fun and funny, and there's funny clips. So it's better to watch it. But if you wanted to, you can also subscribe to POPlitics on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, anywhere that you get your podcast, and leave us a 5-star review.
Well, I love it. Thank you so much, Alex, for joining me. I hope you have an amazing rest of the day, and keep putting out those positive vibes, girl.
Thank you. I'll see you soon.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody. We'll be right back.
Patriot Mobile was built on the values of Americans. We are humbled, recently achieving the highest customer satisfaction among all wireless providers. As America's only Christian conservative wireless service provider, you'll receive great performance, and we'll donate a portion of every dollar earned to support your values. Try a wireless company that really cares about you and your values. Call us today, mention Shemane, and get our best promotion.
My next guest is a hero warrior. He's an American legend, and he's the co-author of 13 Hours, the true story of what happened at Benghazi. Mark, thank you so much for being here.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Mark and Roan.
Yeah, Roan's in here.
We had to have Roan be a part of this. So tell me a little bit about Roan.
Roan's my service dog. She was donated to me by a nonprofit called Special Operations Wounded Warriors, and the kennel where she came out of is called Baden Canine, and they're up out of Canada near Toronto. And her name is after Tyrone Woods, who was one of the guys that got killed next to me. His call sign was Roan. So to kind of honor him and keep his legacy alive, I decided to name her Roan because she's kind of that protector as well.
So you could take an hour or two or three or four, and we've already been talking about it all day about what happened in Benghazi, but can you tell us a little bit about your perspective that those 13 hours?
Well, it's Benghazi was kind of a lawless town. I mean, it was Wild Wild West. It was Tombstone back in the day kind of thing. I mean, there was no government really entities that controlled things. 10 to 15 different militias operated in and around Benghazi. Most of them were there more as organized crime to try to generate money for whatever cause they had, which was, like there was a militia controlled the airport, and a militia controlled overland traffic, another one controlled the seaport. So anything that came in and out of there got taxed and got paid to the militias, and that's how they kind of funded their other activities, which was anti-American. I mean, the majority of them, the majority of the militias themselves didn't like Americans. Now the people there, I mean, they loved us.
Did they?
Yeah, it was. I mean, I could go walking in the streets, and people would come up and just thank you for getting rid of Gaddafi. And part of that's because Benghazi is a different clan or a different tribe than what was Gaddafi's tribe in the Arab culture, and they were kind of got picked on a lot, I guess, by Gaddafi.
So during those 13 hours, I mean, I'm sure there were times when you wondered how the heck you were going to get out alive.
Yeah, and I mean, for me, I think a lot of it, though, what gave me the strength I had that night was my faith. It's because one of two things was going to happen that night. And I was either going to live and go home and be with my family, which was phenomenal, or I was going to die and go up and be with the Lord, which is phenomenal. I mean, it's a win-win situation, I guess.
So do you live your life like that? Like you just are kind of fearless? Because either way is good.
It is. I mean, and it's not fearless. It's just faith. I mean, faith in my family and faith in the Lord. And I know that whatever his purpose is, that's why I'm here. And people always ask me, well, did you always have that much faith or whatever? And I think I always did, but I just looked at it different. Prior to Benghazi, it was kind of like I tried to have my faith work in the ways that I wanted it to work. I'm trying to, between my left and right lateral limits, here's the straight and narrow, and I kind of bounce back and forth across it.
How did that give you more faith?
I think it was just I should have died 3 times that night. I had 3 81 millimeter mortars land within 15 feet of me. And an 81 millimeter mortar has a kill radius of, I think, somewhere around 127 feet. And that means if you're within 127 feet, you got about a 97, 98% chance of dying. And I was within 15 feet of 3 of them. And the guys to my tie was to my left, so the blast went through me and killed him. And, it's just kind of like, okay, I'm a stubborn, hard-headed cowboy. And it's like, okay, God, you got my attention.
And that was a big wake-up call.
Yeah.
That was a turning point. So after Benghazi, how did your life change?
Well, it came from a life that lived in the shadows to a very public life. I mean, and that wasn't really immediately because, I was in Walter Reed. I was on the Wounded Warrior Wing, and the main reason was it was a great place to be able to keep the media from us. And not that I was trying to get to the media, but more so, at that point in time,
you needed to be left alone.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And just rest and heal.
Yeah. And I needed to have time with my family and, because they came out, we were able to spend a week together in the hospital when I was in the hospital out of about 6 weeks. Just because my oldest daughter had to get back to school and things like that. And, and as a private security contractor, there's not a lot of support there. So there wasn't like places where my family could stay unless I wanted to go rent a house and put them up.
Even as a former Marine, though, you'd think that you would have options, but there were no options for you.
No, private security contractors or private contractors that work for the government, there really isn't, unless they have a company that they work for. If I contracted with a company who then contracted with the government, there might be a little bit more support, but I was contracted directly with the U.S. government. And so, which really you would think it would be the opposite.
Yeah, I know, right?
I think you've got a good
I
friend
got it.
there.
Yes, Roan is my new friend, and Roan is not really fond of Happy.
No.
Not
Well,
really
she
fond
isn't
of-
not right now.
Yeah.
2-3 weeks ago, she might have been.
Yeah. So I want to talk about two more things.
Uh-huh.
Hunting.
Yes.
Has hunting always been a part of your life?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in rural Colorado, and it was from a very young
She
age.
heard that little tiny noise, which could have been the refrigerator,
Yeah.
the ice in the freezer making a noise. And she heard that.
Oh, she's hilarious in that. So her bed sits about where the windows are from the front door at the house, and it's a solid wood door, and we have a ring on there as well. If somebody gets to the driveway, she can hear them before the ring goes off. I mean, she'll just start a real low little growl.
How do you know if it's a good noise or a bad noise? You get to know her barks and
Yeah, I can. I mean, you can kind of tell that. She does have a bad habit of barking any noise at the door, she's ready to go after it. So we're kind of working that on
our
her.
dog Sadie does that too.
And it's just a matter of being consistent with that correction and then praising her when she does it right. So
Wow, she's doing this right. So hunting, you grew up hunting.
yeah, it's southeastern Colorado. I mean, farm and ranching. I mean, it was just always had a shotgun or a rifle in the truck at all times. I mean, I had the quintessential redneck truck. I had a gun rack in the back window, and there was a shotgun and a rifle in there. And if it was in the fall, I mean, before school, I'd go dove hunting once it was dove season, and then after school, after football practice, go dove hunting. If it's driving back and forth to my grandparents' place, if there's coyotes or predators out there, you're shooting them because they're killing calves, especially when you get into that February, March time period when all the cows are calving. And so you always had a gun on you, and you were always hunting, and it was to protect your livelihood.
Does your family hunt?
My dad did, my grandfather, and all on that side. My mom didn't.
What about your wife and kids?
No, my wife
No?
doesn't. No, she as she
Has she ever been with you hunting?
No, she hasn't. No,
Doesn't want to go?
I think she's interested, but she's more interested in just knowing she does go to the range and shoot. And as she says, I think I'd have an easier problem shooting a person than I would an animal. If somebody's trying to hurt her, she doesn't want to hurt anything unless
Yeah.
it's somebody hurting her.
I think that is an issue with women.
Yeah.
Because I used to tell Ted, I won't kill a doe. That's just, it's something,
Yeah.
But then I'll sit right here on that porch and watch the sunset and watch them. We've got a feeder out there just so we
Right.
can watch them come in. And I will watch does kick their fawns over a preferred piece of corn.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you.
Okay, I can shoot you now. You're hurting the little ones. Yeah.
Okay, so health.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to stay healthy.
Yeah.
Is there any special diet or regimen that you adhere to? Or is it kind of like free for all?
Well, it varies. I mean, I try to stay away from a lot of the carbs, more kind of a
Keto-ish?
keto-ish.
Modified keto is what I say I do.
Yeah.
Except for the M&Ms that I had earlier.
I saw that.
Did you?
I saw that. Or the Coke I had for lunch.
Yes, yeah, me too. Yeah. And the enchiladas.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, no keto today.
Yeah, exactly. Well, most of it is I try to do, whatever protein, either fish, chicken, meat. I mean, I love beef, but I try to stick to more fish and chicken. Try to leave out the pastas and the potatoes, and then everything else is trying to stay with the vegetables. And I've actually been doing. I downloaded. I can't think of the app. It's Center is the app.
I never heard of that.
It's Chris Helmsworth.
Oh, yeah.
The actor.
Oh, I have heard. Okay, yes.
So, and it's just simple because I can
think
go
you
in
should
there.
take Chris Helmsworth on.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Hey, no problem. Because I can fight harder scared than he can mad. No, but they give you you can pick from the diets. You can make your grocery list off of that. It's just kind of simple, and it's a lot of protein, but some of it's a lot of vegan too.
What about
or not vegan, vegetarian.
What about working out? What do you do?
As you can tell, probably not a lot lately. It's just COVID kind of put a damper on things. I don't know why. I'm home. I should have done more, but one of the things I try to do is at least 100 push-ups every day.
Do you?
Yeah.
Good.
And then I love swimming. And
Me too.
one of my goals, I say this every year, my goal on September 11th, well, I can't this year because we're going to do a fundraiser in Lubbock, actually, but is I want to do a 13-mile swim.
Have you ever done anything like that?
Probably the longest I've ever swam is 4 or 5 miles. But I don't know if I'll get it all done in one time, but it's just one of those things. It's really the 13 miles is to honor. One of these days, I'll end up doing it as a fundraiser or something, and then see if I can get sponsors and just kind of raise money for in Ty and Glenn's memory for the nonprofit that I have, Shadow Warriors Project.
Well, if it's any help at all, I can swim 13 laps.
There we go. Maybe that's what I should do, is stick with 13 laps, or even 13 links.
Yeah. 13
then it's just up one, back, and then I'm good.
That's because that's very,
yeah.
That's good. Well, thank you so much for being here
Oh,
and
you're
spending
welcome.
time with us. And I can babysit Roan anytime.
You can. She would love it.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Patriot Mobile was built on the values of Americans. We are humbled, recently achieving the highest customer satisfaction among all wireless providers. As America's only Christian conservative wireless service provider, you'll receive great performance, and we'll donate a portion of every dollar earned to support your values. Try a wireless company that really cares about you and your values. Call us today, mention Shemane, and get our best promotion.
We're here at Spirit Wild Ranch, and I am a fair weather hunter, I will admit. Okay. So it's such a beautiful, gorgeous, sunny Texas day in November, just before Thanksgiving, and we have a lot of families in our area who are in need of pure, lean, healthy, wholesome venison. And you know what? I think I am going to get me some venison so that we could give it away to some families nearby who might need it for Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving early. Let's see what happens. You never know. It's not like you can say, well, cue the deer. So we'll just sit here on Spirit Wild Ranch. We have so many different kinds of animals. We've got axis deer, white-tailed deer, fallow deer, oryx, gemsbok, black buck antelope, aoudad, and lots of whitetails. So, and this is my favorite bow, my Matthews Jewel. I just love it. It fits, and I think what's really important for women is you got to find what fits for you, what works for you. And I do like the color too. So, okay, let's see what happens. I'm gonna get my arrow knocked and ready to rock, Doc. Well, at least the thing is I don't have to go work out because I just did a workout. Like I feel like I got my heart rate up. And it's tough sitting here. It's just as difficult sitting here with animals looking at you and pointing right in towards you. You can't draw. So we waited and waited and waited, and they played musical chairs, and they moved and they switched, and I drew and I let down, and I drew and I let down. And then he made a bad move on his part. This is the equalizer. No, this is my Matthews jewel, and I call it the equalizer because I've had this, I think this is one of the first Matthews bows that I got, and it just fits me, and I love it, and I'm not going to let it go. It's a 35-pound bow, and for anybody who tells women, and every day I get comments, well, so-and-so wants me to shoot 45 or 50 pounds, and I can't. If you are sitting down and it's cold, you notice I put my jacket on. It's starting to get chilly. So if you're sitting down, your muscles get relaxed, the cold weather tightens your muscles up, you got to be able to pull that bow. It's got to be graceful, and your muscles have to be pliable. So you have to pick a poundage. You have to get the right bow that fits you. And I can't recommend more this Matthews. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Wow.
He was dead.
What a magnificent beast. Oh my goodness. Ah. Wow. Good hit, huh?
Perfect.
Oh my goodness. Such a beautiful animal.
The best venison
And
in the world.
you know what's great, because Thanksgiving is next week, and we just had 2 people come over today who cleaned out our freezers, and we are distributing meat to the community. And so this comes at a great time. We're going to feed the community, we're going to feed the hungry, and we're going to feed ourselves with pure, lean venison. And as it says in the Bible, Genesis 9 verse 3, every living thing that moves shall be meat for you. So thank you, God, for blessing us with this most precious gift. This scimitar horn oryx, there's actually more in Texas than there are anywhere else because we so value them. We cherish them, and we just feel amazingly blessed to have these at our property at Spirit Wild Ranch. Thank you, Cliff Toro. Thank you, Matthews, for making such an amazing bow. Thank you, Roxar, for getting us here. Thank you, Gold Tip Arrows. Thank you, Mossy Oak. Thank you so much to all our blood brothers and sisters who support us at Ted Nugent Spirit of the Wild and watch us every week. I get comments all the time on social media, so follow us on social media. We so appreciate you guys. We do it for you. And I'm not just saying that. We keep coming back because of you, because of all the positive comments and thankfulness that we receive from you guys. So thank you so much. No matter how difficult our day is, or what we look like, or how we feel, our faithful fur babies love us unconditionally. You know, spending time with your pet can help lower your blood pressure and cholesterol and prevent heart attacks. Just being around my dogs calms me and boosts my spirits. Check out my Shopify account and pick up a dog-loving t-shirt or mug today. Do you know what time it is? It's tea time, but it's also time for our funny pet video. Okay, roll that funny pet video.
대웅이 걸으면서 인정해요. 아, 뛰어왔어요. 반가워요.
All right, guys, thanks so much for watching Simply Shemane. I'd love to see you here every Tuesday at 4 o'clock Central Time. I'd love to hear your comments, see your comments. You can get it on YouTube and on Facebook, Facebook Watch. We show the premiere live, and I love interacting with you. So get over to Facebook Watch, 4 o'clock Central Tuesday, and also 4 o'clock Central Tuesday on YouTube, whichever is your preferred source. I go back and forth. Thanks so much for joining me. I'll see you next time on Simply Shemane. Have a great day, everybody.